Hari Ram, Ram, Hari Ram, 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 Hari Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Ram, Hari Ram, Ram, Hari Ram, 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 Hari Ram, Ram, Hari Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram, Hari Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram, Ram, Hari Hari Jai Rahini Nandan Prabhu Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram, Hari Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Krishna Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Jai Hari Nam Ram, Ram, Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari Hari Ram, 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 Hari, Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Krishna. Ram, 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 Hari, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Ram, 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 Hari, Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Priya.
Хари Кришна, Гуру Махарадж, примите мои поклоны, все слава Шриле Прабхупаде.
Haribol. Sislava Srila Prabhupada. Harashaya Devachka. Devachka. Ram.
Хари Кришна, Гуру Махарадж, спасибо за ваше драгоценное общение.
Haribol.
Хари Кришна.
Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Michael McLaughlin. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Hari. I have a disciple in Canada, Dominican Republic, would you believe? And Mexico. Sort of, yeah. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari. Malika Devi Dasi, Krishna Charan Prabhu, Hari Bol. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram. Ksenia, Hari Bol. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari. Dabra Pejalavat. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna Priya, Mama's Des. Ram, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Hari. Krishna, Hari. Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, Hari. Ram, Hari, Ram. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pramanitananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Dasha Hari Bol Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Jai Deva Deva Prabhu Kasturi Manjari Yeshua Kasturi Manjari Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Keshika Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ishri Janavi Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Kadruta Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Oi Oi Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Hey Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Oy Oy Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Narendra, this is my rest. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ya Otikayu Des сейчас. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari May Shayan Karun Sit Abi Yaha Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Jai Rukmini Priya Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Radha Raman Ram Ram Hari Hari Vishaka Priya Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Hari Ram 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 Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmanacharya Shri Hari Vedi Gadadashas Hari Gomatavanda Hari Krishna Hari Ram Ram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmacharya Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vas Hari Gomatavanda Hari Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama Rama Hari Hari Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari 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 Rama Rama Hari 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 Rama 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari Hari Rama Rama Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Swasti Gopinath Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Bhavani Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Krishna Smaranam. How's Satyabhama? Krishna Smaranam Prabhu. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna. Aha. She's chanting regularly. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari. Okay, good. Say Hare Krishna to her from me when you get a chance. Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Bhavana Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Jai Sharadiya Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram. Ram Ram Hari Hari Hari. Krishna Krishna. Hari 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 Ram Hari. Ram Ram Hari Hari. Hari Hari Hari. Ram Ram Hari Hari Hari. Ram Ram Hari Hari. Ram Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Hari. Krishna Krishna Hari Hari. Ram Ram Hari Hari Ram 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 Hari Ram 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 Hari Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram 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 Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Hari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmanityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Saraswati Govardhana Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare. Ram Ram Hare Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Ram Ram. Ram Ram. Ram Ram. Hare Ram. Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Ram Ram. Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare Hare Hare. Ram 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 Ram. Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare. Ram Ram Hare. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare. Krishna Krishna. Ram Ram Hare. Ram Ram Hare. Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ram Ram Hare. Rama, 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 Hari, Hari, Rama, 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 Hari, Rama, Hari, Rama, 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 Hari, Hari, Rama, Hari, Hari, Rama, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, Rama, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, Rama, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Rama, 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 Hari, Rama, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, 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 Rama, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, 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 Rama, 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 Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, 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 Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Krishna, Krishna, Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, 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 Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Ram, 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 Hari, 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 Ram, 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 Hari, 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 Ram, Hari, Ram, 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 Hari, 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 Ram, 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 Hari, Ram, 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 Hari, Ram, 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 Hari, Ram, 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 Hari, Ram, Ram, Hari, Hari, Ram, 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 Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari Hari Ram 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 Hari Hari Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari Hari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmanacharya Shri Hari Vedi Gadada Shasari God Hari Krishna 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 Ram Ram Hari Hari Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Ram Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Ram Hari Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram 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 Hari 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 Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Ram Hari 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare. Okay. Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, prinnie Vinstagram. Ja czytаю lekcję сейчас по-английски. Русский перевод будет в Zoom. Если вы не понимаете английский язык, вы можете приходить в Zoom. Рам Хари перейти или что-то так. Рам Хари Кришна Хари Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare. All right, Haribol. Here we go. Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Last evening, Posledne. Oh, moj ruski. Ksenia, Yasnaya. Kak moj ruski. Это кака. Маленькая шутка. Okay, одна минута. Вот. Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Right, where are we? Okay. Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Presta Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshtarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Pramanityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchkalpatarubhyas cha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Devotees, this we're assuming will be the last, maybe the second to last, but it may be the last evening on Brihad Bhagavatamrita. We're in the second part, the 7th chapter, and we are going to start on verse 133, which we read last night, but we'll read it again. So, it's a discussion it's Gopakumar, or he's now Sarup, a cowherd boy from Goloka Vrindavan now. And he's explaining to the Mathura Brahmin, who is now, it has been revealed that he is now Jana Sharma, who's also a cowherd boy from Vrindavan, from Goloka Vrindavan. But he's just understood that has just been revealed to him just some, like half an hour ago or something. So Sarup Gopakumar is explaining the glories of Goloka Vrindavan and the glories of the inhabitants of Goloka Vrindavan by quoting verses from different scriptures. At the moment, there's a series of verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, which Sarup is quoting. So let us begin. First verse, 133, is Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 19, 16. Yeah. And now he described the cowherd boys, he described Nanda and Yashoda, in other words, going higher, because the parental devotees are higher than the cowherd boys, the friendly devotees. And now he's beginning to describe the gopis, who are the highest of all. So here we go. Chapter 7, verse 133. The young gopis took the greatest pleasure in seeing Govinda come home, since for them even a moment without his association seemed like 100 ages. Yuga Shatam is the Sanskrit, means 100 yugas, which is 100 ages. So let's just carry on, discussing further on and on about the gopis. Their minds absorbed in thoughts of him, they conversed about him, acted out his pastimes, and felt themselves filled with his presence. They completely forgot about their homes as they loudly sang the glories of Krishna's transcendental pastimes. What austerities must the gopis have performed! With their eyes, they always drink the nectar of Lord Krishna's form, which is the essence of loveliness and is not to be equaled or surpassed. That loveliness is the only abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. It is self-perfect, ever fresh, and extremely rare. 136. The ladies of Vraja are the most fortunate of women. Their minds fully attached to Krishna, their throats always choked with tears. They constantly sing about him while milking the cows, winnowing grain, churning butter, gathering cow dung for fuel, riding on swings, caring for their crying babies, sprinkling the ground with water, cleaning their houses, and so on. Their minds are fixed on Krishna alone. When the young gopis hear Krishna playing his flute as he leaves Vraja in the morning with his cows or returns with them at sunset, they quickly come out of their houses to see him. They must have performed many pious activities to be able to see him as he walks on the road, his smiling face mercifully glancing upon them. (138) So this is now Krishna speaking to the gopis, explaining how he feels about them and how he feels about their service to him. I am not able to repay my debt for your spotless service, even within a lifetime of Brahma. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties, which are difficult to break. Therefore, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. So Krishna feels that the love the gopis have for him, which they express through service to him, is just so overwhelming and amazing that he cannot reciprocate appropriately or properly or sufficiently. So he says, just let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. Just carry on. Just continue and relish the nectar which is there in the service. (139) Dear gentle Uddhava, go to Vraja and give pleasure to our parents, and also relieve the gopis suffering in separation from me by giving them my message. So that was 139. From this verse, the next several verses is Krishna speaking to Uddhava, who took the messages of Krishna to the Brijbasis after Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura. So this is now Krishna speaking to Uddhava. The minds of those gopis are always absorbed in me, and their very lives are ever devoted to me. For my sake, they've abandoned everything related to their bodies, including ordinary happiness in this life and the religious duties needed for happiness in the next. Therefore, I take it upon myself to sustain those gopis in all circumstances. My dear Uddhava, for those women of Gokula, I am the most cherished object of love. Thus, when they remember me, who am so far away, they are overwhelmed by the anxiety of separation. Simply because I've promised to return to them, my fully devoted cowherd girlfriends struggle to somehow or other maintain their lives. The residents of Vrindavan, headed by the gopis, are always completely attached to me with deepest love. Therefore, when my uncle Akrura brought my brother Balaram and me to the city of Mathura, the residents of Vrindavan suffered extreme mental distress and separation from me, and could not find any other source of happiness. 144. Dear Uddhava, all of those nights the gopis spent with me, their most dearly beloved, when I was present in Vrindavan, seemed to them to pass in less than a moment. But when bereft of my association, the gopis felt those same nights drag on forever, as if each night were equal to a day of Brahma. Well, the fact is, it's explained not here actually, but elsewhere, that sometimes when Krishna danced with the gopis at night, sometimes he did extend the length of the night to the length of a night of Brahma, 4 billion years. But for the gopis, it seemed just like a couple of minutes, something like that. 145. My dear Uddhava, just as great sages in yoga trance merge into self-realization, like rivers merging into the ocean, and are thus unaware of material names and forms, the gopis of Vrindavan were so completely attached to me within their minds that they could not think of their own bodies, or of this world, or of their future lives. Their entire consciousness was simply bound up in me. All those hundreds of thousands of women, knowing me as their most charming lover and ardently desiring me that way, were unaware of my actual position. Yet, by intimately associating with me, they attained me, the supreme, absolute truth. 147. Among all persons on earth, these cowherd women alone have actually perfected their embodied lives, for they have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Lord Govinda. Their pure love is hankered after by those who fear material existence, by great sages, and by ourselves as well. For one who has tasted the narrations of the infinite Lord, what is the use of taking birth as a high-class Brahmin, or even as Lord Brahma himself? So now, this is Uddhava speaking. Just up till now, up to and including the previous verse, that was Krishna speaking to Uddhava. Now, from this verse, which we just read, for another about 5 verses, it's Uddhava speaking. Yes, it's Uddhava speaking. When he went to Vrindavan on Krishna's instruction, with Krishna's messages for the gopis and the other Brijbasis. How amazing it is that these simple women who wander about the forest, seemingly spoiled by wayward behavior, have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Krishna, the Supreme Soul. Indeed, it is true that the Supreme Lord himself awards his blessings even to an ignorant worshipper, just as the best medicine works even when taken by a person ignorant of its ingredients. Right. So the Lord, Uddhava is saying, the Lord is so kind to his devotees. He's giving the example of the gopis who were simple village girls. They weren't sophisticated, intellectual people. But they achieved perfection by loving Krishna. So similarly, if even an ignorant person serves Krishna very nicely, then Krishna gives his blessings even to that ignorant person. Just as a very good medicine cures the sickness of a person who doesn't even understand what is the medicine and how it works or anything like that. 149. When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the beautiful gopis in the Rasa Leela, the gopis were embraced by the arms of the Lord. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or other consorts in the spiritual world. Indeed, never was such a thing even imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the beauty and fragrance of the lotus. And what to speak of worldly women who are very beautiful by mundane estimation. 150. It's still Uddhava. The gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members who are very difficult to give up, and have forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, Krishna, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge. Oh, let me be so fortunate as to be one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample them and bless them with the dust of their lotus feet. So this is spoken by Uddhava at Uddhava Kund, which is just across from Kusum Sarovar at Govardhan Hill. He was on his way out back to Mathura, having given the messages of Krishna to the gopis and other devotees, and stayed also for some time to give association and talk to them about Krishna and like that. 151. Although the goddess of fortune herself and Lord Brahma and all the other demigods have realized all their desires and are masters of yogic perfection, they can worship the lotus feet of Krishna only within their purified minds. But during the rasa dance, Lord Krishna placed his feet upon the gopis' breasts, and by embracing those feet, the gopis gave up all sorrow. 152. Again and again, I offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaja's cowherd village. When these gopis loudly chant the glories of Sri Krishna, the vibration purifies the three worlds. And we read just a couple of verses before how Uddhava, because this is also Uddhava, he's continuing his prayers here. And we read how he prayed to become clumps of grass, little bushes and shrubs in Vraja, to get the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis if they would walk on his heads as clumps of grass and little shrubs, etc., if they stepped on that grass or those shrubs. But here now, he's offering his respects to the dust. And Sanatana Goswami says, he's falling flat on the ground, on the very path that the gopis' lotus feet have taken before. Yes, because he knows that dust from their lotus feet is right there. So he falls flat on the ground. Then he gets up and picks up one speck of dust from the path and places it on his head as if it were the rarest treasure in the universe. And then he offers this verse. Let me just read it again. Having placed that one speck of dust on his head, as if it were the rarest treasure in the universe. Let me read it again, what he says. Again and again I offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaja's cowherd village. When these gopis loudly chant the glories of Sri Krishna, the vibration purifies the three worlds. 153. So, now, this is 153, yes. This is now Parikshit speaking, because he is the speaker of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, speaking to his mother Uttara. So now he's going to celebrate the gopis in this verse 153. And then, including this verse, devotees, there are only 5 more verses in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and then that's it, we're finished. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently, and leave only a taste for us gopis, for whom that nectar is actually meant. The forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hair on her body. So this is Parikshit remembering how Radharani feels. (154) Lord Sri Krishna, the ultimate resort of all living entities, is also known as Devaki Nandan or Yashoda Nandan, the son of Devaki and Yashoda. He is the guide of the Yadu dynasty, and with his mighty arms he kills everything inauspicious and every man who is impious. By his presence he destroys all misfortune for all living entities, moving and inert. His blissful, smiling face always increases the lusty desires of the gopis of Vrindavan. May he be all glorious and happy. So again, Parikshit is He's concluding the whole recitation by glorifying in different ways. So now Janmejaya speaks, because Parikshit is speaking to his mother Uttara. But that conversation was witnessed by Jaimini, who is now explaining it all to Janmejaya. So Janmejaya, who was the son of Parikshit. So Janmejaya is now, having heard from Jaimini, who heard from Parikshit, Janmejaya is now celebrating. 3 verses to go, including this one. Sri Janmejaya said, I am all successful. I am all successful. For you, O Lord, O spiritual master, have given me the opportunity to relish the secret glories of Goloka. Sri Jaimini said, now Jaimini is the one who had heard it from Parikshit, who's been reciting it to Janmejaya, who just spoke. And now here, Jaimini in the second to last verse says to Janmejaya, Sri Jaimini said, my dear boy, what you say is true. Anyone who hears or chants or meditates upon this narrative with devotion will achieve the abode of the Supreme. Boy, I tell you, that'd be nice. That would just be so nice. And last verse of Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Jaimini speaks. Obeisances to him, the son of the blessed king of the cowherds, who is always astir with causeless compassion, who on his own initiative impels his servant to develop devotion for him, and who then becomes fully satisfied as if his devotee were being very kind to him. Sure, that's amazing. And I think that's really what's happened to all of us. It's definitely what's happened to me. Krishna, on his own initiative, gave me the opportunity to become a devotee and to become a servant of Srila Prabhupada, and in this way develop in Krishna consciousness. And then when Krishna sees that devotee who became Krishna conscious by his mercy, by Krishna's mercy, then Krishna thinks, oh, this devotee is being very kind to me. But actually it's just his mercy. So thus ends the 7th part the 7th chapter of the 2nd part of Srila Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, entitled Jagadananda, the Bliss of the Worlds. Hare Krishna, devotees. So there you are. Brihad Bhagavatamrita. We've been through the entire text at least, with some comments. We hope you've found it interesting. Okay, so starting, today's Friday, we'll see. Starting one of the days, maybe on Monday, probably on Monday, we will begin some other reading. I'm not sure what it will be, but it will be something nice. Okay? So there you go. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Haribol. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Okay. Devotees on Facebook, Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow morning for japa, as usual. Uvidam suzaftra utram, japa kakabichna.